In this video, I'll show how to create a 6-cell widget screen using the Configure Screens section of Ethos to display the channel values and Expo for each of your channel mixes. On Ethos Simulator, I have just a basic model set up, and under my mixes, each mix is just a standard default mix with no curve assigned yet. I'll come back to this section later. The first thing that you'll need to do is to use the new VARS section of Ethos 1.5 to create your VARS or variables for your Expo values. To get to it, you'll click either the Model Setup button or the airplane icon and then page over to VARS. The first VAR that I'll add will be for my aileron Expo. So I'll call it Expo AIL for aileron. For the values, I'll select the first value, which will be the default Expo value. Then I'll change the adjustment increments to be 10% adjustment, and I'll crank this up to 50 just using the scroll wheel. I'll add another value, and for this value I'll assign it to switch position SC middle position, which is SC dash. You can either toggle the switch or select it from switch positions category SC. For this one, again, I'll change the increment value to 10% and crank it up to 60. Then I'll add another new value with SC down switch position. I'll again change the adjustment value to 10% and then back down to 1% and crank it up to 66%. These values can of course be set to whatever percentage that you prefer for your expos. For the next one, I'll just click on the first Expo variable and clone it. I'll change this one to Expo ELE for elevator. And I'm just going to leave the same values for this one. I'll create one more variable, or var, for Expo rudder and name it Expo RUD. For this one, I'll go ahead and adjust the first default value so that it's not quite so aggressive down to 30%. I'll change this one to 40% and then this one to 46%. And again, these values will depend on however you prefer each different airplane to feel. Now that I have the three variables created, I'll use these to set the mixer Expo setting for each of the mixes. So I'll back out and page back over to the mixes area, and I'll edit my aileron. So under the curve setting, I'll select Expo, then I'll click on the 0 and long click until you see Use a Source option. Next, I'll click again and I'll choose the VARS category and choose my Expo aileron VAR. As I change the SC switch from positions, from the three positions, you can see the Expo is changing accordingly. I'll do the same thing for the elevator and the rudder. I'll choose Expo under curve, long click on the 0 value and choose Use a Source, and then I'll choose VARS Expo elevator. And lastly, for the rudder, Expo curve, long click on the 0, use the source, then set it to VARS Expo rudder. Next, I'll create the additional screen. Right now, we have only one screen, so as I click page, nothing happens. Under the Configure Screens area, or the Display button, you can create and add new screens. So I'll add a new screen with 6 cells. The first thing that I'll do here is change each of these cells to be value option. So I'll click Change Widget, select Value, and proceed with each additional widget cell, changing each one to value. Next, I'll configure each of these cells to display either the channel values or the Expo values. So on the first cell, I'll click Configure and change the source to category channels, ailerons. And for the cell underneath it, I'll click Configure and set this one to VARS Expo aileron. Now when I click page, you can see my aileron and my Expo is displayed. As I toggle the SC switch, the according Expo is displayed. And as I move the aileron stick, you can see that the aileron value is also displayed. So now I'll just repeat this for the other boxes, other cells for this screen. So here I'll choose source, channels, elevators. And for this one, I'll choose VARS Expo elevator. And lastly, here we'll put the rudder channel. And in this box, the rudder VAR. So you can see as I toggle the SC switch, all of the Expos are displayed accordingly. And as I move either the elevator or aileron sticks, those values are displayed as well.